Hi, this is Erin from Morehouse Farm with today's knitting tip, which is how to swatch in the round using a really long circular needle. The one I've got here is 40 inches, but you can use anything that's going to be at least that long. Those 60-inch blanket needles work really well. And you can see I've cast on the number of stitches I need here, abbreviated of course to make the video go a little bit faster. You can do the math on how many you need. Once you've got the right amount, you're going to take your stitches, slide them down onto the cord, and split them roughly in half. Doesn't need to be exact. But you're going to take the cord and pull it out between the two center stitches that you've designated so that you end up with two different halves of your work. Now we've got one half here on the shaft. We'll slide the other ones up so that you can see half and half right here. Untwist our yarn and note that we have the live side, which I'm going to switch to be below, and the front side where we cast on the first stitches. And the live side I'm going to pull out so that it's nice and long and I have a lot of slack because I want to be able to bring this needle back over to work. So I join just like I would in the round, and I have to make sure that I've got these stitches very close to each other. So the first one might be kind of loose. You can see I've got what we would call a ladder, which we don't want to have. All you need to do is make sure that you pull that first stitch really, really snug. Not so snug you can't slide it, but snug. And then continue knitting. And here you go. As I continue knitting, let's talk about how many stitches we need for this swatch. If I've got a gauge of 6 stitches to the inch and I need to have at least 4 inches across on my swatch, that's 24 stitches. However, I'm going to have a front and a back to this tube that I'm swatching, so I need to double that for 48. And then I really should have some selvage swatch stitches, meaning an edge, so that I'm not measuring right to the edge, especially if my gauge doesn't turn out perfect. So 6 times 4 is 24, times 2 is 48, and I added an extra 10. I'm going to swatch with 58 stitches. Now, I've gotten to the end of this first side, so I need to change the position of my needles. The working side, meaning where the yarn is going to come from, will be slid down onto the cord, and the side that I'm going to work now is going to be slid up onto the needle. Notice I've got a little bit of a ladder forming here too. Not really something to worry about. As I start to knit, that'll take care of itself, and the rest will come out in the wash, as they say. But I got to figure out what to do with all this cord, and that's what comes with practice. I've pulled it out longer to make it easier for me so that I can just continue knitting. And here I need to make sure that I'm pulling this stitch nice and tight as well so that I don't have that ladder, but it doesn't have to be perfect because it will come out as I block it. And I continue on until I reach the end of this side, in which case I will change my needle position again. So it's a constant rotation from the side that I'm working, meaning my right hand has plenty of cord coming out so that I can get the right needle over to where the work is. And then I'm sliding the side that I will work up onto the shaft of the needle. And you can see I'm struggling a little bit here. I might have pulled that ladder too tight. So you don't have to tug it all the way down. Now, I want to make sure, and here's a good chance for me to fix this if it's a problem, that all of my stitches, the very edge, are pointed in the same direction so nothing's twisted. Again, I'm pulling out the working side, and I'm going to knit again here as we come around, pulling those nice and tight. The first few rounds are going to look wild. Do not worry about that. Just keep going. And from here, knit around to the end of this side, change my needle position, and keep going on the next side until I've got at least 4 inches in length, in which case I can bind off. Then I'll block it, and then I will measure my gauge, and with any luck, be good to go. If it's not spot on, don't worry about it. Do the adjustments that you need to do so that you have success with the project. Remember, this isn't a pop quiz. This is a prediction of how your knitting is going to work in the project. So you want to make sure you get it right in the swatching before you start knitting. All right, happy knitting from Morehouse Farm.